I will make sure
Hello,
that
everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on
I
the
forgot to
simulcast
brush my
on
teeth
Facebook,
before I walked
LinkedIn, YouTube,
out the
and on
door.
X, we're glad you all can be with us.
I
And
didn't
also
want
bringing
I
our
didn't
friends
want the
over on
nice
IG so they can be a
next
part of our chat
like that.
today. And last but certainly not
I'm
least, going to connect with our friends over on
sure.
Amazon Live. Very excited about our next guest. Who's making her very first appearance with us here on Cyrus Webb Presents. She's celebrating the paperback edition of her book out this week. And we're now live on the Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. We're excited to welcome Julie Menanno to our broadcast today. You guys know her as a licensed marriage and family therapist, also the best-selling author of this book you guys can see here called Secure Love, Create a Relationship That Lasts a Lifetime. I'm going to talk to Julie not only about the success of the book, but also what it's been like for her to see the way that it's helping people in all aspects of their life. Julie, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Hi, Cyrus. Thanks for having me. It's lovely to be here.
The pleasure is definitely all mine. As I mentioned here on Amazon, the book is now officially out in paperback. But Julie, what has it been like for you to see the way that people have been able to not only connect with you through the book, but also through your platform, The Secure Relationship, as well?
It's been really amazing. Truly, one thing I like to say to myself before I do anything, whether it's write something or go on an interview, is, this is my opportunity to help people. And if I can just speak to one person out there and one couple out there, then that's great. I'm doing what I need to be doing.
Yeah. And you've definitely done that, Julie, for sure. I mean, literally people around the world. I noticed even I was prepping for this segment. Of course, people have been touched by the book, but also just the way you've been able to really help us to better understand our role in relationships. And I have to say, Julie, for myself personally, when I first read your book, which was probably last year, the thing I thought about was this is a book that's not just for, for couples. This is great for friendships, but also even in the way we approach our business. Could you have imagined that a book that a lot of people look at as as a relationship book for couples and, and marriages could be something that could kind of help them in all aspects of the relationships?
Absolutely. We all want the same things out of relationships, even the ones that aren't as big, for lack of a better word, as our romantic ones. And we all need to feel safe and close to another person, to feel heard, to feel understood, to feel respected, to know that your needs matter. So these are really just basic relationship skills. It's just that, in romantic relationships, there's just more emotional expectations, and the needs are, just at a greater level. But this work applies. I really personally have very much benefited from it as a parent, as much as as a partner.
Right. Love that. Nancy, hello to you over there on the Amazon side. So glad you could join us, and thanks so much for the follow. Hello to you also, Marianne, over there on IG. The Crazy Kirk Girl, hello to you as well. Nancy, I want to talk to you about a couple aspects of the book that I think our audience will really appreciate. I'm sorry, Julie. A couple of aspects of the book I think our audience will really appreciate. And one of them is the importance of communication. I love the fact that when you talk about in the book that, especially when it comes to seeing a therapist or talking with a therapist, kind of demystifying the idea that means somebody is broken. What has it been like for you to help people to better appreciate the role of a therapist, but also how they can be able to help and not feel that judgment?
Sure. So, most couples do need to learn how to use vulnerable communication. And this is really, this learning to do this is really what will make the difference between just surviving conflict and actually repairing a relationship and growing from it and building, the greatest amount of connection possible. And, some people are going to have blocks to getting there. And it's not going to be as easy as reading the book and learning the skills. They're going to have some trouble getting there. And sometimes these blocks are rooted in their past and wounds that they've experienced in the past. And sometimes these blocks are rooted in wounds that the couples have created together. And the therapist's role is not to come in and judge and say you're doing anything wrong. Their role is to come in and say, hey, you've got these blocks. They're understandable. We all have them. How can I help you work through them so that you can feel not only a greater connection to your partner, but also a greater connection to yourself and the ability to show up for your own feelings in any way, which is very empowering.
Yeah. I love the fact that you talk about showing up for yourself, because I have to say, Julie, that to me, for myself as a single guy reading this book, was one of the big takeaways for me initially when I first read it. And that was that it really is about realizing that you yourself are a work in progress and being able to recognize that and think about that when you start kind of getting into relationships, whether with business or friendships with other people, that, not expecting things of them that you wouldn't want expected of you, but also realizing that just like you have to give yourself grace, being able to give other people grace as well. Talk to us about that aspect. What's it been like for you to see how people have realized the importance of doing the work on themselves and realize that all of us are a work in progress?
Yeah, that's a great topic. I get a question often that is, what is more important, to do your own self work or to do relationship work? And really, the two are so intrinsically tied, you could never separate them out. What I like to say is, you need to do your own work to feel emotionally healthy within yourself, that you need to do your relationship work to feel safe and close to your partner. And if we don't know how to tap in and deal with our own emotions and show up for our own emotions, the the result of that is called self-abandonment. And if we're self-abandoning by not, going into those deeper places within ourselves, and instead, the alternative is staying stuck in anger and anxiety, the only thing that's going to come from that is partners abandoning each other. So as you learn to show up for self, you do grow a greater capacity to show up for your partner. And as you and your partner can show up for each other, it makes self work easier because you're not so stressed by the, relationship. And when people are safe and less stressed, they're much more open to growth and self reflection.
Yeah. The handle that people have gotten to know you from, Julie, the secure relationship, I think is so appropriate. Of course, the title of the book, Secure Love, as well, because I think, when we think about being secure versus being insecure, I think it really does show the positive aspect of what is possible. What has it been like for you to see how that handle has really come to be how people see you, that you are the secure relationship person? What has it been like for you to embrace that and to see how people are being able to realize how they can be able to have that secure relationship no matter what it might be?
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. It just makes me want to learn more and get better at what I do so I can put more and more information out there. I have a lot more to say. And, I have information that is simple for people who are just kind of being introduced to this information, all the way to really complicated stuff. I mean, I'm working on a next book right now about shame, which is a real deep dive. So
Mm,
just being able to speak to people on so many levels and knowing I'm making a difference is really everything to me.
yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that about shame. That made me think about something else in Secure Love that I think our audience will appreciate, Julie, and that is the way you talk about dealing with trauma. I mean, we live in a world, especially today, right? Even more so probably than when the book first came out, that we're realizing how trauma impacts not only ourselves but also the relationship that we're in. What has it been like for you to see how the way you approach trauma and help us to look at trauma is really helping people to heal, not only when it comes to relationships, but also with themselves as well?
Yeah, I mean, my platform is really about helping people learn how to do vulnerable communication. And if someone has experienced, even repeated emotional abandonment is enough to be considered trauma because it leaves us with a state of fear. I mean, if we don't have reliable access to emotional comfort and care, that is enough to create, like I said, it's enough to create trauma. So
Mm,
just helping people understand the value of the emotional work, the value of doing your own emotional work around that, and the emotional work with the partner, and understanding that trauma can be a big block here. And it's not because you're bad, it's not because, you're just refusing to communicate in the right way. It's because you have some emotional fears that you're dealing with, and those fears need help and healing so that you can more fully connect with yourself and feel safer in your own body and have a deeper connection with your partner.
love that. Dr. Jim Price on LinkedIn says definitely connects with mental health and trauma. It is prevalent too in these days. That's so true. Dr. Price, thank you so much for that. Julie, I'm so glad we get a chance to talk with you as you're celebrating the paperback release of this book. I think, it's going to, I think for those who are just finding out about the books, I think it's going to be a great way for them to start this year, to be able to see how they can not only be able to have that secure love with others, but also with themselves. But also, I love the different aspects of the book that you're able to talk about, where people can see the importance of communication and also realizing not looking at themselves as broken, but also as
Mhm.
all of us are as works in progress. Again, everyone, Julie Menanno has been our guest. Secure Love is the book. Again, available now in paperback. You also can get the audio book, and of course, the hardcover is available here on Amazon as well. As I mentioned, you guys can find Julie on social. The Secure Relationship is her handle there, especially on IG. Julie, congratulations to you again, and thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you, Cyrus. It's been great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all enjoy your day. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.